last night was Kamario Taylor of Mississippi State. Big-time arm, rare athleticism, with a 6'4" frame, team-first attitude, and Mississippi manners. He's impressive in every way. We need an out-of-bounds roll call from OOB Nation on the Dancing Rabbit Golf text line, 601-885-3776. How are you listening? Where are you listening from? And are you going to watch the World Cup Wednesday night, United States against Bosnia? United States against Bosnia on Wednesday night. Are you going to watch it? Yes or no? The Dancing Rabbit Golf text line again is 601-885-3776. Bowbound Straight Funk with you on a 4th of July week. How are you doing?
Oh, man, we're all right. All right. Had a good weekend, somewhat.
You know what was funny is you said, I said 4th of July week, and you said, oh, it's 4th of July week?
I had no idea. Every day's the same now.
It's unbelievable.
Gotta grind. Hey, you wake up, you gotta work every day. So, man.
Yeah?
You lose track.
You're trying to open a restaurant? You're trying to run a big-time sports and entertainment show?
Gotta shut down a business.
Shut down a business?
Gotta move a business.
What?
Man, we're tied up. We're busy.
Okay.
It's a good thing, though, because I ain't got nothing else to do.
Exactly.
What else am I going to do?
Well, you'll sit on your couch and watch Jeopardy, which you don't need to be doing.
Oh, well.
So I like that you're
moving and shaking.
That you're driving the number one sports and entertainment show in the SEC,
right.
The Out of Bounds show, and that you're opening up some kind of new something.
Joint.
Tigers on the text line. If the Jeff Lebby experiment crashes and burns this year, is rehiring Mullen a possibility? If that were to happen, what kind of life would that breathe into the program? So, yes, you will be getting a new coach if Lebby doesn't start winning.
Right.
To answer that question. No, Dan Mullen's not coming back. We need to, I don't know what that is about sports. We're so weird. Dan Mullen is not coming back. He did that.
It's over.
He did that.
Yeah, he did what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean,
More that.
9 years. He took a program, rock bottom, an athletic department, rock bottom. Starkville didn't have the momentum it needed, although somehow it was growing through the last few years of Sherrill and then all of Croom. But that was just natural SEC growth.
Right.
And he had an extraordinary. Well, nobody's ever had the kind of impact that he had on Mississippi State University than Dan Mullen. So he's the reason why shovels went in the ground, bulldozers, condos, homes, South Montgomery boomed. You just did $15 million in the Starkville Country Club, which is absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful play. I mean, it was already nice. It's incredible. And then, of course, Cotton District and Main Street and everything else. So, I mean, he was the driving force for more people, more things, more restaurants and bars, Dan and Dak and a few others, Greg, Byrne, and a few others. But, yeah, I mean, he's not coming back. That's okay. There's other people to hire. You had plenty of talented people. There are plenty of people who want to make several $1 million a year in Starkville, Mississippi to coach football and get generationally rich in minutes.
Literal.
There were a number of sitting Power 4 and G5 or G6, whatever, head coaches that would have taken the job. They were not offered. John Summerall was one. He wanted the job. There was a minute there where he thought he had it. Don't tell me that he would have only stayed a couple of years. That's caveman country bumpkin thinking. I can't do it. Not going to. So it doesn't matter if a coach stays 2 years. If he wins, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Lane Kiffin was not staying at Ole Miss forever.
No.
I mean, I tried to explain everybody that. And neither Dan Mullen wasn't going to stay forever.
No.
There are exceptions. Mike Bianco, Rick Stansberry wanted to stay forever. He was let go. Your program crashed. There's some other. I mean, I think O'Connor could make not a Bianco run because he's 50-something years old, although he's in fantastic, shape and so on. But I wouldn't be surprised if O'Connor's there for a decade.
No.
And baseball's weird. Not weird, but it is weird, but different. And there's nothing wrong with being different. It's just different than football.
Right.
That makes sense. There's talented coaches that would take the job, sitting head coach, or a guy that's got at least 6 or 7 years of coordinator experience.
Be great.
Not 2. You've done this now twice. I don't understand. Like I am beyond baffled. Like you had just done the Joe 2 years of offensive coordinator experience, hired Joe Moorhead. He did not have the capability or ability to run the program A to Z. And there's just Pete Golding has now realized how much more there is to do, and there's even more when the season gets here. Joe Moore, some people are there, some people aren't. We'll see if it works for Pete. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? All these guys, Will Stein. Y'all don't know who he is, but he was 4-year offensive coordinator. Last couple years at Oregon. He's at Kentucky. We're not sure if he's real, but if he is, I'm just giving you his resume. He may work. He may not. I mean, it's kind of a 50-50 crapshoot on something like that. Now, you go get somebody with 3-4 years head coaching experience, 4 or 5 years, or 6 to 8 years of coordinator experience, your odds change. Doesn't mean that they're going to work, but your odds and your risk averse, or your risk goes down. That you're trying to mitigate risk. Hello.
There you go.
You're trying to mitigate risk on everything you do
in life.
Yeah, no question.
Period.
I mean,
all the time.
I'm not going to, so
Everything.
Nobody wants me to fly the plane out of Jackson Airport today, right? They want to mitigate risk. So they want to get 2 pilots who are trained and have done this for at least a few years.
That's a great example. I love
Okay?
Yeah.
So that, you had just done it, and then you did it again.
There you go.
This is all self-inflicted.
Double
you can
down.
win easily. Other people have told you can. It's the biggest bunch of, it's not about people. It's caveman dumb if you're focused on its money. If Ole Miss can win, Mississippi State and Arkansas and South Carolina can win, among many other teams.
Yeah.
It's not money. Let me say it again. It's not money. It's being competent. It's having the right person in the job and understanding, evaluating talent, getting the pieces in place on the board, staff. All these things we talk about are mega important, but we now eye roll everything. I mean, you got to have a phenomenal strength and conditioning program. You still do. I know that was the thing to talk. I lived it.
Oh.
I know we started talking about it in 2005, 2006. We all rolled around in it. Oh my God, strength and conditioning. Because it was kind of the new.
It was the wave.
Yeah, well, Saban hired Moffitt in 99 or 2000, and he kind of revolutionized after Nebraska. Nebraska did it first in the 70s and 80s and ran through the night. And then Saban took it to another level on the whole modern day strength and conditioning program. And we got all into that. We talked about that at lunch and dinner in the back patio. And then we started paying strength and conditioning coaches $600, $700, $800, $1 million.
Yep.
Because they spend more time than anybody else with your players, your kids,
right.
Your guys. They spend 1,000x more time than Pete Golding and Jeff Levy with your guys than anybody else. And the 4 to 6 assistants or 6 to 8 assistants that they have now under them, who are very important too.
Right.
Everything matters. I think most everybody's off this week, or either they're going to be off by maybe Wednesday, but let's just pretend that they're not. Everybody from Ohio State to Mississippi State who's not winning, and from Ole Miss to A&M is working out.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's trying to find one millimeter of an edge, compound it every day through the workouts, and see what it delivers in the fourth quarter in late September, early October in a game where your butt cheeks are tight and you're white knuckling your chair in the stadium or at home and you're cheering like a crazy person for your team. Does that edge come on June 29th or July 16th or, all that? That's what it comes down to. Did I just simplify everything too much?
I mean, yes and no.
Probably did. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I did take some notes on. It's funny, I just got into that. I was doing some research. I don't know why. What am I doing? I was doing research on Nick Savage, Lane Kiffin's strength and conditioning coach, but Dan Mullen's former strength and conditioning coach. So, that what Lane was able to implement at Ole Miss, and he took Nick Savage with him to LSU. So, the Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Go with the home team, right? I mean, if starting outfielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Jake Mangum, the hit king, says, hey, let's go with the home team, call your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent today and get a quote. Powered by competitive rates. Farm Bureau Insurance agents in every county. All 82 of them, baby. All right, Bowbound Straight Funk with you. Did I miss it? Did you do anything interesting? Did you have like a cheeseburger? Did you have something fun to eat?
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Had a heater burger Friday afternoon.
I love it.
Heater.
I love a great cheeseburger.
I gotta take it back. It was a sandwich of sorts, but it was
patty melt
chicken sandwich actually.
I like
but
it.
It was a honey garlic.
Oh, Martin's in Livingston has a hot chicken sandwich that's ridiculous. Go ahead.
Honey garlic chicken. I never had it.
Love it.
And it was I was very pleased. And I had a souffle for my dessert.
Did you?
Yeah, I was partying. Yeah, that thing was awesome. So I had to take half of it home though, because like Mackenzie would have been mad.
Yeah.
So I had to give her some.
Well, you always have to think about
That's right.
your better half and bring home something.
Well, right. I mean, I couldn't show them my souffle and then.
That's not going to work out.
Yeah, because I'm not sharing.
Yeah.
No, she get her own.
Okay.
Well, I'll bring her own. How about that?
Right.
Yeah, that was about it. Yeah, man. We kicked around. Took it easy. It was hot.
It's
hot.
Amen. We got out on the boat yesterday.
No coverage.
Wendy and I. Well, I had.
Yeah, look.
She sits in the front.
Okay, all right.
So she's getting she'll come back and get under the whatever. We took a bunch of laps. It was nice. I mean, I had the air conditioning on. What I mean is you go a little bit faster than normal cruise speed this time of year. I mean, you're still going super slow.
Right.
But that's how you turn the air conditioning on.
You get the breeze.
Right. Now, we did have a crosswind yesterday on one side of the lake that was phenomenal.
Oh, I bet that was nice.
It was beautiful. I saw Bryce Chance.
Nice.
He was having, as he should, he just worked for like a crazy man for 5 years. And I know his father-in-law. And so that was cool. And then what else did we do? Wilkes came home. That was like a Cat 5 hurricane.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, he's back.
He's back from D.C.
All right.
Yep.
Glad to have him back.
Yes. Yeah, he had a good time. Actually, he had an extraordinary time. Like, I, for him, wanted him as his dad.
Right.
I wanted him to have a great time.
No doubt.
And I thought, like, the floor should be a really good time.
There you go.
He had an extraordinary experience.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like, and he did a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I the one thing that you try to not tell your kids, but explore. And right, that's what you want them to do.
No doubt.
So he did a million different things, and I was glad he went to New York by himself one weekend, and went and did like 16 different things, which is happy. My dad had a saying, 30-something years ago. And he told me that this is before I didn't know I was going to spend a lot of my life on the road, but he said, do not sit in a hotel room. Put your bag down and go see wherever you are. And so yeah, he had a really good experience. So that was cool. Now we're about to move Ella Hall out of state. She got a job. And so, we got to do that.
Nice.
I'm happy for her because she got a job with an amazing company.
That's right.
And
U-Haul season, baby.
Yeah, so we got to get that done, and then
ain't that bad.
And then we'll go from there. No, it'll work out. I'm glad you had a good sandwich and souffle though, and I'm glad you remembered Mackenzie.
Yeah, I was too.
Did she enjoy it?
She did.
Okay,
very much so.
Good.
Oh yeah,
good. I brought you some bourbon balls.
I see that. I'm getting over there. That's a between those and the breakfast casserole. I mean,
I didn't even know you could say souffle when you're from Clinton.
Southwell.
Okay, Southwell. Yeah.
Had to get learned on that for a little while.
I love that souffle, baby. It just doesn't it just sound fancy?
That was citron souffle.
Oh my God! It was like when you were at Commander's Palace in 1985, and they'd cook it by the table. That's big living, brother.
Dude,
I'm telling you, you had to wear a blue blazer. Oh my God!
Big time.
Yeah, that was when people were real quiet in restaurants.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. Now you can actually chit chat. According to,
I don't want to hear all that chit chat.
Well, that's what they said.
Keep it to yourself.
But 1983, 84, 85, they'd cook it up right by your what was it? Bananas Foster?
Bananas Foster.
Is that right?
Yeah, Bananas Foster.
When was it Commanders and Windsor Court? That was big living in 1984, bro. Both of them, I think, would cook it by your table.
When was the last time you had to wear a blazer into a restaurant?
Oh my God, that is a great question. When was the last time I had to wear a sport coat?
Like, where were you? I mean, I'm talking about one that would make you, if you don't have one that'll check out the door type deal. I've only seen it on Seinfeld. I can't
think of it. Now, years ago, I started packing a sport coat.
Well, that was smart.
Period. Because you don't ever know who's going to call when you get to that city or town.
Never know.
And get in the hotel room to go have dinner.
It's fact.
And you don't want to be caught with your pants off. Well, you do when you're with your significant other, but not when you're trying to go to dinner in a town when you're not at your house.
Can't be
where
caught.
You can grab a sport coat, a beautiful sport coat from the Rogue Men's Store. Which, by the way, I went deep into the closet over the weekend. I don't know what I was doing. And I have this Jack Victor sport coat that I didn't realize I had. I'm going to have to ask Luke if it's still wearable. I think
it's wearable.
I think it looks good.
Well, then it's wearable.
But I just got to make sure that it's the deal. But yeah, if you're looking, thank you for that. You just teed me up. If you've got an engagement party coming up and you know you need to upgrade, your sport coat's tired. It's time to reboot.
I like that.
Whether it's Jack Victor or another one that they have at the Rogue Men's Store, check it out today. Beautiful, beautiful sport coats, all at the Rogue Men's Store. Plus their shorts, knit shirts, button down, untucked, roll up the sleeves, all that. You're good to go. The Rogue Men's Store in Jackson. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Your breakfast biscuits this morning brought to you by Martin's Market. Grab one of their bone-in tomahawks. Yeah, they've got tomahawk steaks, Hereford, Greater Omaha, Martin's Market. It's ridiculous. But their breakfast sandwiches this morning, grab and go, get you some protein. There was something else I was going to mention. Oh, you haven't mentioned it this morning, but I am wearing a brand new Los Angeles Chargers pullover.
Is that Chargers? I was trying to see what the thing was.
I am so excited.
Sweet. It's sweet.
It's really cool. I told Wendy what I wanted. Y'all know I've never ordered anything off Amazon. I'm going to try to make it one more day. But so I was like, Wendy, I want a really thin. We like to keep this studio cold.
Right.
And I said, Wendy, I want a really thin Los Angeles Chargers pullover. She went, great, I'll get you one. She went, why? Just out of curiosity. I said, well, I grew up a San Diego Chargers fan, as y'all know.
Right.
And she was like, that's right. And so now I'm channeling my inner
Jimmy.
Air Coryell,
Okay.
Dan Fouts, and Kellen Winslow Sr.
Nice.
A little bit of Chuck Muncie, but I got to go with the three. We've had Dan Fouts on the show. I should have gotten Air Coryell on the show before he passed away. And Kellen Winslow Sr. was unbelievable. And God, if he had played in the modern era,
Oh, man.
I just my mind explodes. I don't even know what to do. And Air Coryell was running an offense that wouldn't be run until 25 years later,
Right.
in 1982 and 3 and 4. And so were all those guys out west, right? That was where the more innovative stuff was coming from. Lavelle Edwards, Bill Walsh, and Mouse, and Air Coryell, and that whole group. That's all tied into that book, the second book that I read on Mike Leach, not Swing Your Sword that he co-wrote, but the other one, which I'll have to look at during the break. So, but I'm sporting this Los Angeles. So now I'm also channeling my modern day Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. Okay. Because this thing is lit. Yeah. It's the same color as my boat. My boat is Los Angeles Chargers blue. Okay? Because, let's just say it out loud, Dan Fouts is a legend. Anybody who thinks differently can leave the country with all those people that were going to move to Canada. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. We're powered by Pearl River Resort. Award-winning championship golf, Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, Philip M. Steakhouse Table Games, Pearl River Resort.com. Jeff Duncan on Camario Taylor at 8:30.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
Is now awarded.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
Clown axe. Guy named Sliced Bread.
Good morning. We are the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Happy America 250. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app and the Zone 1059.com. We were on the road Thursday and Friday. Went to the beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast. And that was fun. That was fun. Driving down in thunderstorms wasn't awesome, but once I got there, it was fun. Got to meet a couple of buddies down there, had a good meeting, and then drove to Pearl River Resort on Thursday and met Locke Ward, the realtor, Clean Up Jackson. That's what he's done there is nothing short of remarkable and amazing. He started a movement, which very few of us do in life, 1 out of a million. Yeah. And so Locke was there with his friends. They had the showdown in the South at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. Chris Matheson beat Locke Ward. Locke's revenge match. Chris gets the trash talk and the banter, which was pretty serious on the text, on the group text they started. After, but we'll do a round 2 showdown in the South, powered by Dancing Rabbit Golf Club between Locke Ward and Chris Matheson. Went up there, had a great meal at Philip M's. Did that on Friday. I stayed for 9 holes. Locke wasn't playing well from the jump. His first, you could tell from hole 1. 4 a.m. is not good to Locke.
No.
You know, Locke doesn't really consume beverages.
No.
And everybody had a good time on Thursday night. They decided to stay out on the casino floor until close to 4 a.m. And then it was an early, flip and to get out of Dancing Rabbit Golf Club and so on. So it didn't work out for Locke. It did for Chris. And we've got round 1 winner. We should do like best 2 of 3 or 4 of 7. I got to think that through.
You gotta be able to put your A game out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we were on the road last week. It's good to be back. I love being on the road, but it's great to be back in the Bank Plus studio. We would love for you to hit us up on the Dancing Rabbit Golf text line, 601-885-3776. Find us on X at Bo Bounds. Jeff Duncan will join us at 8:30, NOLA.com. And he tweeted out over the weekend. Again, Duncan wrote the book, Peyton and Breeze. Great book. If you like the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I'm talking about the behind-the-scenes stuff on what happens in an NFL franchise and team and program, then I would highly recommend ordering it. It's awesome. It's a good book. NOLA.com, NFL for 30 years, Hall of Fame voter. He'll join us in 25 minutes at 8:30. On the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Jeff Duncan tweeted this out over the weekend on Camario Taylor, and I quote, the most intriguing QB I saw at the Manning Passing Academy skills competition in Thibodaux, Louisiana last night was Camario Taylor of MSU. Big-time arm, rare athleticism with a 6'4" frame. Team first attitude and Mississippi manners. He's impressive in every way. End of quote. And then somebody, CJ Vogel or somebody from Texas who was down there because Arch Manning was there along with, Dante Moore and Trinidad Chambliss and everybody else. He he said the same thing about Camario Taylor. So we'll get Jeff Duncan's read on Camario, and he listed, it looks like another 6 or 7 QBs that you're going to know several of them and can get an idea on what he saw. This thing has become, I mean, it was big, but it's just gotten bigger and bigger, you know, because you got Archie, Peyton, Eli Cooper, now Arch at Texas, and so on. So it was a big party at the Manning Passing Academy in Thibodaux, Louisiana. We want to hear from you on the text line. Say hello to us. How are you listening? Radio or streaming? Where are you listening from? 601-885-3776. 601-885-3776. I did get a question here about Lebby. And, you know, somebody said, and I get asked this all the time. I know you and your friends talk about it. You know, how many games does Lebby have to win to be safe? I think 7.
Safe.
Yeah,
7.
7 is 100%.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it or not, I mean, you know, and again, it could probably be a Sam Pittman, Sylvester Croom type thing, where a lot of coaches can jump up and have a big year, and then they get signed for an extension, and then you fire them a year or two later. That's what I think this will be if he does that.
Right.
But he is capable with Camario and a better D. It'll be tough. I mean, but it's going to be tough for everybody to win. So it's not just Mississippi State, who's been the worst team in the comp. Well, them in Arkansas the last 2. How did they beat Arkansas in Fayetteville last year? God, what a gift. Where Arkansas just decided they wanted to forget how to play football.
You'd be over right now.
How do you have 220 yards of penalties at the Power 4 level? I don't care who's coaching you. And Petrino, while he may be a blankety blank, I mean, he can coach football.
Oh yeah, dang good coach.
I guess they all just mailed it in. We're going to do what we want. You know, the hell with being disciplined, play in, play out. I don't know. Anyway,
Who needs it?
yeah.
Run amok.
But I'm going 7. I'm going 7. No, I'm not saying they're going to win 7. Hold on. Somebody will take that, and it'll be on the message board in 5 seconds. I think it will take 7 for Lebby to extend his career. And we'll see if Camario Taylor, Philip Montgomery, and Zach Arnett can make that happen. Do you have an edge rusher? I have no idea. Coleman Hutzler did not believe in edge rushers. So now I know that Zach Arnett does. Were they able to get 1 or 2 in the portal? Who knows? We'll see. And how good is your offensive line? It needs to be solid because Camario can move around and do some things. If you've got good coaches on the offensive side of the football, and now that you've got a dual threat quarterback, you should be able to have a solid offensive line and still move the football. That's basically what majority of college football, even those that are winning, have. They just have a dual threat QB that can make stuff happen. When things break down, when you're flushed out of the pocket, can you keep your eyes down the field and make something happen? It's easier said than done. You can see it, especially in the NFL. When those guys can't do it, when you're in the NFL and you can't, when you're flushed out of the pocket and you can't keep your eyes down the field, you're done.
Toast.
Now, college, a little bit different. I was listening to Todd McShay this morning, switching gears. Mississippi State plays at South Carolina, week 3 this year. I was listening to McShay talk about Lenore Sellers, and he's a hell of a football player. He was hurt for about 4 or 5 games last year. And he's like Camario, big, physical, played a lot more football. They really like him.
Yeah.
Kendall Browse is going to make Lenoris better, and even half a step to a step better. I don't mean like running. Tier. You're talking a different ball game. Dude, he could be really, really good. Jeff Duncan on Camario Taylor at 8:30.
Do I not currently have a pulse?
I don't know. Jackson?
Do I not currently have a pulse?
Okay. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 1059 The Zone. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Jeff Duncan, NOLA.com. 30 years covering the NFL. Pro Football Hall of Fame voter Drew Brees will go in a few weeks. Saints Nation will be going crazy, as they should, celebrating Drew on that weekend of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which is really cool. Drew gave us all some amazing moments and experiences, right? No doubt about it. Great player, great leader, and what he and Sean Payton did, unbelievable. Jeff Duncan covered them all along the way, then wrote the book, Peyton and Breeze. And he will join us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line at 8:30. And this was Duncan's tweet over the weekend on Camario Taylor, and I quote, "The most intriguing quarterback I saw at the Manning Passing Academy Skills Competition in Thibodaux last night was Camario Taylor of Mississippi State. Big-time arm, rare athleticism with a 6'4" frame, team-first attitude, and Mississippi manners. He's impressive in every way." End of quote. I saw him last month or the month before. I was within 10 feet of him in Starkville. He's a big man. He's a lot bigger even than when you last saw him in the Egg Bowl or the bowl game. He's a big man. He's actually bigger than I thought. The one thing that I thought when I saw, I guess it was at Duty Noble, the one thing that I thought when I saw him was like, I knew he was big. Dang, he looks like an edge rusher. Of course, he's, so he's got all the tools. I'm going to say it over and over again. We were the first one to start saying it. Now others are talking about it. And we've now asked two guests about it. It's all about what he and Levy will do over 8 months from January to August on his short intermediate passing game. And is Levy willing to simplify the offense for a true sophomore that hasn't played a lot, even though he's very, very talented, and just get him comfortable with just a few plays? But the deal in coaching, not just Levy, the deal in coaching is I have to run everything. I have to run my stuff, and I have to run all of it. And that usually doesn't work. And so, simple concepts like we mentioned earlier of what Wendy's did 40 years ago, Chick-fil-A. I mean, the list goes on and on. Nike. I mean, it's whatever. And so what can Camario do? One, when the live bullets start flying, and he did play a lot he played all the reps the last two games against Power 4 competition. Ole Miss, who was good, Wake Forest, who wasn't. And he did on the road, even though Arkansas is not any good, they do have some players on the road at Arkansas down by 17, back-to-back touchdowns. That was good to see. I don't know why he didn't play more. There was never really, I don't think, a plan for him, which was weird. What did they do the 8 months going into last year? We'll see what they have for this year as far as Camario, but they can work with someone for the first, Jeff hasn't had a dual threat since being at Oklahoma, but really, Dylan, I guess, Gabriel, but really since Matt Corral at Ole Miss. And Camario being 6'4", 230 pounds, that he can run it. He can make fluff better. He can make your average to solid offensive line better. And I can't wait to see, is he going to make it? Is he going to win 7 games and extend this thing? Or will we be in a coaching search either before, by Halloween, or after the Egg Bowl, just depending on wins or lack thereof, or maybe an extension with the right number of wins? Y'all are already asking about replacements on the Dancing Rabbit Golf text line as far as Levy. I think there are plenty of guys that would take the job. You have resources. You're in a great area. as far as players all around you, and you play in a league where coaches want to come in and win and prove that they can win in this league. There's nothing like game day in the SEC. Nothing like it. The Big Ten, even though they've won 3 national championships in a row, is a snooze fest other than 1, maybe 2 games on a Saturday.
Boring.
And then it's a bunch of boring stuff. So
You think they know that?
I actually do because
I do
they well, some of them don't want to admit it.
Right.
Okay,
right.
because the Northeast and Midwest is where all the newspapers and media and population and wealth started. Now we're the coolest thing, have been for 30 years, will continue to be. And of course, we're all experiencing extraordinary growth in everything in the Sun Belt.
That's right.
But yeah, I think a lot of them watch on TV on Saturdays and go, damn, they're having fun.
Look at that.
And then, Northwestern and Purdue play and Wisconsin and Michigan State play.
Light it up.
And you're just, you don't have the juice there. So, Scott from Philly, Levy needs to go. Unnamed texter from Columbus. He's been hanging out with us for a minute, and I'm glad to see him streaming the show. I'm streaming you guys on YouTube. Oh, well, then you can see my Los Angeles Chargers brand new pullover. I've never worn it. Streaming you guys on YouTube from Columbus, Mississippi. Could care less about the World Cup. Waiting on college football. Well, then you're waiting on Ole Miss against Louisville.
Yep.
That's week 1, neutral field. Clemson at LSU in Death Valley, game 1. Lane Kiffin and Sam Levitt and Ed Ogeron. So that's a big one. Big one.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss has got a big one too in week 1. Thank goodness, because week 1, we turned the tide and did a bunch of big games, and now I think all the schools are trying to get an exhibition game week 1. Like, you can tell Lane doesn't want to play this type game again. He referenced Ole Miss's schedule and how easy and great it was. Right. And Bjork/Carter did a magnificent job, with, non-cons like Wake Forest. And then when Wake canceled, Keith went and got Washington State, which was brilliant. I mean, that's not even a P4 roster.
Right.
I mean, there's 20 G5 rosters that are better than Washington State. Then you got a bunch of East Carolina and Auburn and Baylor play in Atlanta.
Hey.
Nobody's real fired up about Alex Golesh. Most of you don't know who he is. He's the new coach at Auburn. And then Dave Aranda is still somehow at Baylor.
Hey.
And, he's done a solid job. That's really it that I see week 1. Week 0, actually, I think has better matchups than week 1. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Jeff Duncan next on Camario Taylor. He'll join us on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. Lunch today is brought to you by Burgers Blues Barbecue and Dogwood Flowwood. Dogwood Flowwood, B3. They've already had an outdoor covered temperature-controlled space. Now they just built a green space, which is awesome. They've got the chicken fried chicken blue plate today. They've got the Dirty Bird wrap, which is phenomenal, and the smash burgers. Burgers Blues Barbecue, Dogwood Flowwood. Order to go for the office. Jeff Duncan next on Camario Taylor.
Guys, I don't have time for that speculation.
Out of Bounds, ESPN 1059 The Zone, driven by your next GMC Sierra truck, GMC Yukon, FowlerGMC.com, Fowler GMC, Pearl Brandon. Fowler GMC, Pearl Brandon, pre-owned and new GMC Sierra trucks and GMC Yukons. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Out of Bounds. I'm your host, Bo Bounds, 1059 The Zone, ESPN. And we are hoping to get, there we go. Boom. And all right, here we go. We're rolling now. We've got our guy, Jeff Duncan, NOLA.com, joining us on the Out of Bounds show on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. And he had a tweet this weekend. Let me get into this. So Mississippi State fans haven't had much to get excited about the last few years. Mike Leach passes away. It's been fumbled around here as far as the program. Dan Mullen had it rolling. Mike Leach had it rolling, and they haven't won. Their rival's been winning big. So this really jumped out at me over the weekend. Jeff Duncan, NOLA.com, tweets out, the most intriguing quarterback I saw at the Manning Passing Academy skills competition in Thibodaux last night was Camario Taylor of Mississippi State. Big-time arm, rare athleticism, with a 6'4" frame, team-first attitude, and Mississippi manners. He's impressive in every way. Jeff Duncan, good morning. What was it that jumped, well, I kind of went over it, but what was it that jumped out at you that made you go, wow, with Camario Taylor over the weekend?
Well, Bo, let me just preface it a little bit. I had a little scouting report on Camario Taylor from my colleague here at the Times-Picayune, Rod Walker, who is a proud Mississippi State grad. So he's kind of giving me the whole backstory on Camario coming out of high school in Mississippi. I'd watched him play when he finally got in the starting lineup, so I'd seen him a little bit and was familiar with his backstory. So I was intrigued, right? I love that kind of storyline. And then the Mannings, when I talked to the Mannings before the camp and went over, some scouting reports they had received, they always do this for me before camp, heard nothing but positive things about them. Maybe they're biased, at least Archie, because he's a small town Mississippi kid as well. Sure. But he spoke glowingly about Camario. So having said that, I had no idea what he would look like in this skills competition. And, it's a skills competition. So let's be clear, right. They're out there throwing on air, but just the physical ability that Camario displayed, especially when you see it up against the other top quarterbacks in the country. I mean, they're going one after another. So it's a really good gauge of arm strength and just physical skills. And, man, he really stood out with his arm strength. The ball just kind of comes out of his hand differently than a lot of these other top quarterbacks. I mean, we're talking about guys like Julian Sayin, Arch Manning, some of the top names at the position, just in the physical ability to throw the football. It reminded me a little of someone from my alma mater, Lamar Jackson, the way the ball just kind of – it's almost like a slingshot. It just really came out of his arm with some torque. And then the other thing is I finally got to talk to him and was just really impressed with his kind of demeanor, the way he carried himself. He's a yes sir, no sir guy. He clearly cares about the team, just all the things you want to hear from a quarterback. I wrote a book about Drew Brees and Sean Payton, as you know, and, Drew was very big in the intangibles that go into that position. I see a lot of those same traits with Tyler Shuck here with the Saints. One of the reasons why I'm so high on him, and just the way Camario talked about leading, I think he gets it. So there was just a lot of things to like about him coming out of there.
Jeff Duncan on the Out of Bounds show. He was at the Manning Passing Academy, impressed with Mississippi State's Camario Taylor. Were you surprised at how big he was?
Yes. Yeah. I knew that he had a good frame, but he doesn't look like going into his sophomore year.
True sophomore
season, right? I mean, he doesn't look like that. And that's the other thing that hits you too when you get on the field is you see the size of these guys compared to each other, he was definitely one of the bigger quarterbacks there. I'd say he's probably one of the 3 or 4 biggest guys there, if not 1 or 2. The quarterback from Maryland, Malik Washington, also has a very big frame. But the way he moves, and then he talked about how he's worked on his mechanics in the off season. That's very smart. I mean, you're going to always want to hone those and the accuracy, but you just look at that ability, the frame, the God-given size, and you just see a lot of clay there to mold. I mean, the potential, I think, is off the charts for Kamario Taylor. And then the way he's got his head screwed on, you can just see that he wants to be great. I think Mississippi State's got a special one.
As far as the skills competition throughout the 2 or 3 days, Jeff, what's the most challenging for the P4 quarterbacks? Whether it's Kamario, Arch, Trinidad, Dante Moore, where they really, is there a time where they've got DBs or linebackers covering wide receivers? Is there any of that down there?
No, they don't do that. The one that he threw that's gone viral on the internet is just the routes on air that he's throwing. They have a bunch of receivers come in, college receivers from, Nichols obviously is right there, Southeastern Louisiana, Tulane. I think South Alabama sent some receivers. So they're just learning these guys too. That's the other thing that, sometimes there's going to be some miscommunication or not everybody being on the same page. But the one that really stands out too is the accuracy, skill, kind of session where they have these moving dummies, these kind of robotic kind of moving blocking dummies, if you will, and they move around and you have to hit them with the ball as they're moving. And then they also have these poor guys, Bo, in golf carts. They have football helmets on so they don't get drilled in the head. They have a big target on the side of the golf cart and they go shooting across the field at pretty high speed. You've got to try and hit that moving target. There's a couple of those zinging around. I almost got run over by one. So there's a lot going on, and you have to be able to process real quick because certain targets are worth more points than others, and you only have a certain amount of time. It's a fun competition. I encourage people. I mean, if you don't have anything to do next year, you love football. I mean, it's unbelievable. All these top quarterbacks are on the field. It's all I don't even know if they charge. If they do, I'm sure it's a low price, and you get in, and the stands are packed, and it's a who's who of football down there. I mean, there's agents. There were at least 2 NFL general managers there. There's people from all parts of the football apparatus in our country, and they're all just standing watching all these quarterbacks. And invariably, a few months later, they're the ones that everybody's talking about on College Game Day.
Jeff Duncan was at the Manning Passing Academy. He joins us on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 1059 The Zone, NOLA.com. Follow his work and on Twitter. So who else? Give me 2 or 3 other guys that jumped out at you and you were impressed with for one reason or another, Jeff.
Well, a guy I didn't know much about, Bear Bachmeier from Brigham Young, was very impressive. In every competition he was in, his skill set was very high. His big, kind of definitely physical-looking quarterback, a guy, and carried himself very well in the conversations that we had with the quarterbacks. And then, this is kind of obvious at this point, and it certainly will appeal to your audience, but, Trinidad Chambliss, I thought, not only in the skill competition, which I've seen, I covered that Tulane Ole Miss game last year. I covered his big win against Georgia here in the Superdome. I saw the skills he has, but I'm more as equally impressed with his maturity and his intangible qualities. Clearly he came to that camp prepared to talk about Lane Kiffin and the exit and all the things that went involved with that saga. And I thought he handled it perfectly. I thought he handled it like a 30-year-old. I know NFL players that don't handle sessions like that as well. So Ole Miss has obviously got a great one. It's going to be a good year for football in Mississippi, I think, with these 2 quarterbacks to follow. I know they've had some great ones at both schools, but you got 2 good ones. I think you could even say 2 great ones. And I don't know if they've had that in a while.
Jeff Duncan on the Out of Bounds show and the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. All right. Lane Kiffin, you've covered all kinds of different people and personalities. And you just mentioned 2. Peyton and Breeze, and you were with them the whole time, but others at LSU and Saints and so on, NFL. What do you make of the last few months and Lane in Baton Rouge at LSU? He kind of does whatever he wants. He's doing all these big podcasts. He's stirring it up with Ole Miss and everybody else. He has become the villain, but he's also a top 5, top 10, head coach, Jeff, in college football. And I would probably say a top 5, 6 offensive coordinator in college football. What's your takeaway on Lane and Baton Rouge the last 6 months?
Well, the main takeaway, first of all, I think he's following the same playbook he used and employed at previous stops, right? Ole Miss fans know that. I'm sure when Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Southern Cal fans watched his introductory press conference or any of the sound bites he's uttered since then, I bet they nod knowingly. I bet they heard a lot of the same things that he preached when he took those jobs. So I think LSU fans have bought in. Well, I don't think they've bought in hook, line, and sinker. There's no doubt. I mean, the expectations that he is, going to be facing in this job, I think, are way higher and really totally different than anything he's encountered in his previous stops, in his tenure. Their expectations clearly are to make the college football playoff. And I think Lane has sensed that very quickly. I mean, one thing about him, he's not dumb. I mean, he definitely is a smart guy. You can tell that right away. He's very calculating. The things he does are not by accident. I think that Vanity Fair thing, when he said it wasn't calculating, that's complete BS. I think we all know it was. He doesn't do anything that's not calculated. But having said that, he's trying to temper those expectations. And I knew that was coming because people here are running amok with, Lane fever. They're all aboard the Lane train. So, and I think in the normal year, he might not want to temper it as much, but that schedule, Bo, is unbelievable. They open against Clemson week 3. They go to Oxford. That's going to be a snake pit. We all know they've got to play Texas and Alabama back to back. And they also have to go to Tennessee. They got A&M coming in. I mean, they could do well, I think, and go 9-3. But LSU fans are expecting them to make the playoff. There's no doubt about it. And we all know that that's a tall task, even for a good team. And we've seen really good teams at Ole Miss that he had didn't make the playoffs. So I think it's going to be fascinating. And I do think I haven't had a sit down with him yet. I think that's in the works. But I'm really fascinated. I mean, really eager to sit down with him and try to unwrap this enigma, because everyone I've talked to about him says he's one of the more polarizing and confounding personalities they've ever been around. People that have known him for years, intimately known him, still feel like they don't quite know him. And I think that's a fascinating kind of character trait.
Oh, I think he's an enigma for sure. Yeah. That's Jeff Duncan, NOLA.com on the Out of Bounds show. Will it change the way you cover Louisiana sports? And what I mean by that is, I mean, a lot of what you do is Saints, as it should be. I mean, the NFL is huge. It drives the train. And people are trying to figure out if Kellen Moore and Tyler Shuck, if they're going to get this done and get this franchise rolling again. But will you cover LSU a little bit more because Lane is the most polarizing figure in college football right now, Jeff?
Well, I definitely am going to cover it more because I'm writing a book about LSU sports this year. So,
okay.
I don't know if I've told you that or not, but I'm actually writing for HarperCollins, been commissioned to follow LSU athletics.
That's
this year,
awesome.
I think primarily because of Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
I think the storyline will be just how this plays out in this crazy landscape of college sports. I mean, we want to look at the bigger picture of modern college athletics, the changing dynamics involved, how it's becoming really a business adjacency to a higher education institution. That's what's going on in college sports right now. Is it almost feels like they're branching off. I had one athletic director say, how like almost every university has a hospital now, LSU Hospital or Tulane Medical Center, and they're branded with the university, but they're completely separate entities. That's what it feels like these athletic departments are going to.
No doubt.
We want to write about that through the lens of one institution. And obviously LSU is a very high profile institution with everything that's gone on. So I'm looking forward to following this. I think it's going to be fascinating. I think it's going to be a bit of a soap opera. I think Ole Miss fans would understand that. And I think it's going to be one of the more compelling stories in all of sports, not just college sports.
Wow. All right. So Jeff Duncan's writing a book on LSU, and Lane will be the driving force in the book and what LSU does and doesn't do this year on the football field. You know, we know enough people in Oxford and we're up there enough. My takeaway after 6 years, Jeff, is nobody knows him. Did he hang out with a few people? Sure. But he's definitely, I think he's a recluse to a certain extent. He would dive into a restaurant or two. He didn't care about hobnobbing on the square. He wasn't going to go to the Oxford Country Club and do all that and eat club sandwiches and drink Tito's and sodas and hang out. And he doesn't play golf. I'm going to be fascinated to see how this works out for you, because I don't really think he's close to anybody. When he talks about the SEC coaches group text, I think he thinks he's kind of close to Kirby and a couple others, but at the end of the day, he doesn't pal around with people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. Everything I've heard similar things about him. And, that's not unusual sometimes for these really high profile coaches to be a little bit of, reclusive, almost, some of these geniuses you come across in life, not just in sports, are like that. And what I've heard about Lane is, he doesn't have a lot of hobbies outside of football. He doesn't play golf. He's not a big hunter or fisherman. He's not going to be doing that. And, that reminds me a little bit of Nick Saban when I covered Saban. I mean, he was all football, all ball, all the time. Now, he would get away, but he was the same way, driven and obsessive almost. And, that certainly applies to Kiffin. And, I heard a lot of this. And one of the things I've always kind of gone against the grain on this, Bo. Keep hearing about how fit's important in LSU. I don't subscribe to that theory. If you win, it doesn't matter. I mean, Nick Saban proved that. He wasn't a fit culturally with Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He'll be the first to tell you that. But he's beloved there because of the level he won at. And so now everybody's dancing on Brian Kelly's grave because they said he wasn't a fit. Well, he was winning, and everybody loved him. When they beat Alabama that first year, no one expected it. They loved BK. And then he didn't win enough, and now it's all about fit. And I'm telling you, Lane Kiffin's not exactly a perfect fit there either. But if he wins, it won't matter. I just feel like that's been overplayed.
I think another intriguing storyline, not that I need to give you any with your accomplishments in your career, is how he wants Saban to bless what he's doing. You can tell that his last 2 years at Ole Miss. And then, Jeff, he referenced him nonstop about talking to him once the LSU job opened and Brian Kelly was fired, and until he took it, and how Saban told him it's the best job in America. To me, he wants Saban to bless him as a good coach and so on. And I think that's been a rocky road between the two.
Yeah, I think he wants that validation, right?
Yes.
I mean, he got basically fired right at the end there while he handled that exit from Alabama. He clearly looks up to Saban. It reminds me a little bit of some of the stuff with Sean Payton and Bill Parcells. Sean always referenced Parcells. I mean, some of the staff would say they would walk around with a WWBD bracelet. What would Bill do? Because they knew that's all Sean wanted to do in the Saints facility. It feel the same thing as the mentor-mentee. I just wonder how much Nick sees that. I think Nick clearly has advised Lane Kiffin. I think he did advise him in this coaching carousel. But does that mean he's his, favorite pet that he ever has as assistant? I don't know. I don't know if I believe that.
No. And I think, I don't think, I may be wrong here. I don't think Saban really wanted to have anything to do with him. And then over time, Kiffin started winning. It looks like he's grown up to a certain extent, especially on the field and the building. And I think Monty Kiffin passing away, and I think Monty and Nick talked over the years, especially the last few years, once Kiffin got his stuff together, Jeff. I think that's the only reason why Saban opened the door for them to start to have a relationship or cultivate some sort of relationship. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, that follows the similar things I've heard from other people. And I think I think Nick at this stage, after being retired now, certainly sees himself a little bit as almost like a coaching advisor, a mentor. I think he likes that role.
Yeah.
I think he really does. He embraces it. And I think if Lane is reaching out to him in that way, I think he's always going to embrace that and respond. Sure. And I actually am trying to get to Nick Saban and get a sit down with him for this book. I'm hope he's going to cooperate because he's uniquely positioned. I mean, he was the head coach at LSU. He understands the culture. He understands the expectations. He also understands the potential. I think I've told you this story before. I had to sit down with him right after we broke the story that he was coming to LSU and he got settled in. It was a couple weeks later. Sat down with him, interviewed him for 45 minutes in his office. And then after we were done, he asked me if I had anywhere to be. And I said, no, what do you need, coach? And he said, well, I've got some questions for you. And he got up and closed his office door, which was open the whole time. And he wanted to know, he sat down and wanted to know what I thought was holding LSU back, what I had seen that he felt like might give him some insight into needing to be addressed early on. It just showed you, his level of detail that he was asking a beat reporter at a newspaper his thoughts on why LSU hadn't fulfilled their potential. He saw it as a giant, a sleeping giant. He wanted to know what was holding it back. And for that conversation with me, I guarantee it was replicated across the staff, in every donor, everybody he encountered. Just shows you how his mind works, right? That was fascinating.
That is a cool story. Jeff Duncan, we appreciate it. Jeff Duncan, NOLA.com, Saints, LSU, among other things, insider. He's writing a book on LSU, and this is year one of Lane Kiffin in Baton Rouge, and it's going to be wild. Follow Jeff Duncan on Twitter, and again, NOLA.com. Jeff, we appreciate it. Happy 4th, my man.
All right, Bo. Thanks for having me, buddy. Happy 4th to you. Take care.
Jeff Duncan on the Out of Bounds Show, Pro Football Hall of Fame voter. His book, Peyton and Breeze, is amazing. Now he's writing a book, which I'm jealous. Of course, that's going to be a lot of work, but how cool is that? I mean, he went behind the scenes with Sean and Drew and wrote a great book. Now he's going to have access to a lot of people to write a book on LSU and Lane Kiffin. Bo Bounds, Jackson Meadows with you. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're driven by your next spray and bed liners, lift kits, tires and wheels. Rick's Pro Truck. Trucks live here.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is Out of Order.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
Wow, what am I drinking? Swoochie Boochie, good morning to you. I can see LSU coming dead last in the West.
We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. The show is powered by Pearl River Resort and the super cool Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, Geyser Falls, Philip M. Steakhouse, and inside the Golden Moon. You got the table games and the Vegas Style Sportsbook, PearlRiverResort.com. God, they've got a big week. Fourth. Man. I mean, that place was packed last week.
Wait.
It was packed. And with the fair and everything, we had a great time Thursday night at Pearl River Resort. Philip M's, the wine room was fabulous. There was a lot of saffron chowder and calamari, and they've got this shrimp and Brussels appetizer that I highly recommend. Steaks were great, beverages, and then we went over to the tables in Golden Moon, and right about that time, the United States was also playing soccer, so there was a good vibe in the sports book for it to be summer. And the casino floor was rocking with the fair. So a lot going on. They'll have live music this week, good food, golf, all sorts of things for 4th of July, as you know. Bo Bound Straight Funk with you as we roll along here. This is an interesting week because nothing really has happened exciting around Mississippi State football in a long time. Yeah. And that's unfortunate and, you know, whatever. But, you know, Camario Taylor, he was highly recruited out of high school. People knew about him for years because he was a Mississippi State lean since he was a kid. You know, if Mullen or Leach were winning, it was a total slam dunk, but it was a slam dunk, I guess, regardless. And his skill set is off the charts. What he could be is off the charts. He played pretty well last year. He had no running game. Fluff was hurt. You know, their offensive line, I don't even know what it was. And so he ran around, did some things, actually completed some good passes. Didn't play as much as you would have liked for him to have played, but especially situationally, which was odd. I mean, running Blake Shapen 3 times in a row over the guard is interesting to me in the primitive red zone. But Camario gives you, I think, some excitement. I mean, he is going to be electric. Yeah. He's going to make some plays, regardless of how good they are. Whether they win 7 or 4, he's going to make some really, really big, fun plays, and he will be better. I just don't know how much better. What Jeff Duncan talked about as far as when he talked to Camario Taylor over the weekend at the Manning Passing Academy, the one thing that jumped out at me was Duncan talked about the intangibles. And Duncan has covered plenty of quarterbacks in the NFL, including one by the name of Drew Brees that's going to Canton, Ohio here in a few weeks to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a first ballot Hall of Famer. But Duncan talked to, you know, kind of dropped a little Lamar Jackson. And Camario has he's the kind of player that can win a game for you. You haven't had a quarterback that could win a game for you since Nick Fitzgerald. And before that, Dak Prescott could. And before that, Chris Relf could. And yes, Chris Relf was a good quarterback. Only Mississippi State fans wouldn't appreciate it. But So the fact that you've got a guy who can go get the sticks, who can make plays when everything breaks down, and who's big and physical at 6'4", 230. You haven't had that guy since Nick. I know you had Garrett Schrader for like 7 games of his true freshman year before transferring out. But Camario is the first big physical, I can go make a play quarterback since Nick Fitzgerald, Dak Prescott. I mean, Chris Relf beat Michigan and Florida and Georgia. Do you think it matters when things break down that you can go get the sticks? I think it kind of does.
Big time.
Right? Because, I mean, y'all know this. I mean, guys are running with their back to you, trying to cover somebody. They don't know what's going on. And all of a sudden, the quarterback takes off. You've seen it a million times, and the magic happens. And then how deflating is it for a defense? Right? 3rd and 8, things break down, and then the quarterback rips off a 14-yard run. You're like, you can't be. They just got a new set of downs. Right. It's mental too, baby. You know that.
No doubt.
And in the 4th quarter, when a Jackson Dart can break you down, or a Nick Fitzgerald can break you down in the 4th quarter, and you've already been playing for 3 hours, and now the game's getting in that 3:15, 3:25, and your mind, things are playing mind games with you.
Yeah.
And everything's on the line. What does that do for you? Well, what an asset to know that you can go get the first down. What's he going to be? I don't know. Is he talented? No question. He's most talented. He may be the most talented quarterback you've ever signed, just like pure, raw, physical athleticism. If somebody like Jeff Duncan's like, yeah, I walked up to him and was like, damn.
Right.
Now, when I saw him, I don't remember when it was, a month or so ago, I was like, okay, I knew he was big, but good grief. I mean, he is a monster. And he's got July and August to lift, and so, I mean, he's going to be a big man. If he stays healthy.
Already huge.
Boom. We'll see.
That dude's massive.
Let's ask our listeners. I mean, what is your level of excitement around Camario? Because there hasn't been much to get excited about. And it's also at a time where Ole Miss has had their most successful 3-year run in the history of their program. So on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the most excited, what is your excitement level over Camario Taylor? The Dancing Rabbit Golf text line is 601-885-3776. Give me your excitement level 1 to 5. I mean, I would think most of you are going to be a 4 or 5.
Yeah, 3+, right?
Because you're still a fan. I mean, even Cleveland Browns, New York Giants, Arizona Cardinals find something to get excited about.
That's right.
So what does that look like for you? On a scale of 1 to 5, what is your excitement level for Camario Taylor? And did it rev up now that you had 2 guys who have no affiliation with Mississippi State, Jeff Duncan, national NFL guy, and some other dude, CJ Vogel or something, Texas Longhorns insider, talking about the most impressive guy at the camp was Camario Taylor. And you got a bunch of like quarterbacks from winning programs there. Dante Moore, Arch Manning, Julian Sayin, Trinidad Chambliss, and so on. 601-885-3776. Out of Bounds, ESPN 1059 The Zone. Hit us up with the text. Say hey to us. Maybe send Jackson something to eat this week.
There you go.
He's not going to cook on the grill, so it's going to take y'all cooking some ribs or some wings or some deer sausage or a brisket or a butt and get this man some protein.
There we go.
So that we can get him out of the McDonald's fast food line.
Right.
The text line is 601-885-3776. Show is powered by Superior Foundation. For all your foundation repairs, go with the #1 foundation company in Mississippi, Superior, superior.ms.
Wolves, Mountain Lions, and Bears.
We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, powered by Pearl River Resort. Good morning. Welcome in. We're live in the Bank Plus studio, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Don't forget lunch today at Fleetway Market. They have a market cafe inside Fleetway Market in Gluckstadt. Check it out, grab and go, or you can order and eat there. Fleetway Market and the Market Cafe in Gluckstadt. Bowbound Straight Funk with you. Good morning, good morning. Coming off, I guess, the Manning Passing Academy and going into United States and Bosnia Wednesday.
That's right.
Are you going to watch the game? Hit us up on the text line, yes or no. 601-885-3776. Also, how excited are you about Camario Taylor? On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the most excited, how excited are you about Camario Taylor? Hit us up on the Dancing Rabbit Golf text line, 601-885-3776. I am excited.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to have a playmaker, you've already got a playmaker in Oxford. When you have two playmakers in Starkville and Oxford, because I don't know what the wins mean, but a playmaker, an exciting quarterback, somebody who can do, not just throw it, but run it. I mean, this just opens up for the first time since Fitz everything. And you see what Ole Miss has been able to string together with Matt Corral, who could do both, Jackson Dart, who could do both, and Trinidad, who can do both. And, Ralph was a runner, right? And he was a power runner. And he had Anthony Dixon and Vic Ballard, who were both NFL players. And so that they both made each other better, and they made the offensive line better. Ralph did become a more, even though he wasn't a super polished passer, he did become a more polished passer under Dan. And then, of course, Dak became fantastic his junior and senior year, and Fitz became a more polished passer after basically running the wing T in Georgia and having 65 attempts, I think, in high school. No doubt. I mean, he made some fantastic throws, but he was great, one of the top 5 ever in the league at running the football from the quarterback position and the leading rusher in the history of the SEC at the quarterback position. So now you went away from it. You're going back to what most everybody else uses to win football games, which is a dual threat. And when I say that, you don't have to be Lamar Jackson. No. Okay? And you don't have to run like Nick Fitzgerald, but you need to have that in your, arsenal. And, of course, Camario does. So on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the most excited, how excited are you about Camario Taylor? Let's go with, we had an Ole Miss fan that actually, here it is. All right, 601 unnamed texter. Bo, as an Ole Miss fan, I'm a 4 for Camario. Could be a 5, but he will beat us one time based on athleticism. I was a referee at some of his high school games. He was unreal. Okay, so that's from an Ole Miss fan. You know how we are, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. He's like, the dude has talent. And I can't wait to see what Lebby and Camario, and I guess Montgomery, have done in the offseason and how much he's improved in all the different areas. And it's just a slight step in a couple of them. And because he already proved he can play.
Right.
And my God, he was a true freshman on a team that, had no identity.
Right. No help.
All right. I mean, Brendan Thompson was good, and Fluff got hurt October 1 and never got back. And so you didn't have an SEC tailback or running back. And even though Fluff was playing at the end of the year, when he came back 6 weeks later, it was obvious he couldn't play. So all those questions, we'll get the answers. We want them now, but we won't get them until September, October, November. I can't wait. And will Trinidad be as good as advertised? I mean, we already know he's good, but he's kind of got the Superman cape after the Georgia and Miami games. So there's a lot to live up to, and he doesn't have Lane Kiffin in the headset they have in the helmet.
That's right.
And that's a big deal. Now, if Dan Mullen or Lane Kiffin had Camario Taylor, it's curtains. It'd be illegal. If Dan Mullen, and there's others too. There's awesome offensive coordinator play callers out there.
For sure.
But if Lane Kiffin or Dan Mullen had Camario Taylor, what? I mean, think about what Dan did with Chris Relf. He would have never been any good under Sylvester Croom. Because Croom just doesn't have that skill set.
Right.
To take a player like that, figure out what he could do, and make him good enough to go beat Florida, Georgia, and Michigan. I mean, all three of them were top 10 recruiters. That just does. You don't just roll the ball out and go beat Urban Meyer at Florida, beat Georgia at home with Aaron Murray, and go beat Michigan by 40.
No.
Dan did that with Chris Relf. He didn't. I mean, doing it with Camario Taylor or Jackson Dart's different because of their skill set.
Right.
I'm not taking anything away from it, but it's different. And those are the questions that we all will ask throughout the summer. Like when you're hanging out on the grill and you're cooking that great rack of ribs this week for the big holiday summer season. How good can Camario be? What will he do? In the big moments, will he make a couple of big plays to get a couple of wins for a program that is desperate to get some momentum and to try to make this thing work with Jeff Lebby? And, well, this is the Selman Levy football experiment. To date, it's an epic disaster.
Right.
Can a guy like this who has transcendent talent, but really young, but it's obvious he has this crazy dripping with talent skill set, can he get it done? Big moments, big third downs, big fourth downs, big red zones where every super primitive SEC, bunch of 300-pound dudes teeing off on each other, then a bunch of 240-pound guys, linebackers and edge rushers that can move like lions,
Right.
coming up to the line of scrimmage to take you out. Camario gives you an opportunity to know that, hey, he ain't just going to hand it to Fluff.
Right.
Like last year, you were sitting there looking at, I mean, the linebackers and edge rushers are like, all right, Shapen's not going to do it. You know, if he does, we'll decleat him.
Yeah.
And Blake's got a skill set that was nice, you know, in the Troy, Coastal Carolina vein. But when you're down in that, when they stumble down in the red zone, now Camario walks up the line of scrimmage and everybody's like, oh, this dude's 6'4", 230. Fluff's 230. They've got some options here that they didn't have. That makes a difference when you're trying to punch that thing in like they were against some teams, and they had no luck. I mean, they scored some. A lot of it was, you know, outside of the primitive area. You know, I mean, Pete Golding knew, dude, I'll let Camario run around. And Camario ran for, I don't know what it was, 130 yards, and I don't want to take anything away, but he was like, he can't beat us because of what they lack in all the other areas. So we'll let him run around. This year could be different. May not be. But we get to check it out and see. We got two talented QBs. One that's established, one that's now coming up on the stage in Camario. I can't wait. Who's this? Bo, I love you talking SEC football. Well, I love you. And I love that you're listening to the show. All right. I didn't know Jeff Duncan's writing a book on LSU and Kiffin. We're going to have him back in studio when it comes out next year and throw a big party like we did on the Peyton and Breeze book signing. Back in a second.